We can try that out versus my old 68 Camaro and see which is good.
So we're not supposed to tell anybody that.
I mean, hey, the difference between the man and the boy is the price of his toys.
Andy, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm having fun.
I want to be sure, since we kicked Trudy out. Now, let me tell you something about Trudy when she left here, we forgot to do. The glasses that she's talking about working with are 66200. Now, that's Trudy's phone. Or if you want to get a close look at these Google glasses, she's going to be probably the only ones in town with those things on. So get a hold of her through Facebook, Trudy W. What's her last name?
I can't remember. I didn't write it down. Was it Schultz?
Something like that.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Paul. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself? Good morning, John.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, I got a little thing I want to discuss, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it in a while, so let's get to it.
Okay.
On Tuesday, the Yuma County Airport Authority had a meeting, and one of the local pilots, I won't say a name, got up to give his 2 cents worth, get 3 minutes, and he mentioned something about a settlement in a lawsuit. They've got a $200 million lawsuit against them for something.
Right.
And apparently there was a letter out that said it would settle for $26 million. Well, they did, but all I saw them do, and I've got the video, and you can watch it on YouTube.
Right.
Is the president of the board,
Rob
Ingold.
Yeah, you're going to use his name, right?
They even get Benich involved.
Yeah.
And they get Junior Samples involved, the old hee-haw.
Involved in what?
In berating the local pilot. And they pretty much called him a liar. They told him that he was, that was a lie. They didn't call him a liar. They said, that's a lie. Well, I've got a copy of the letter right here. It was dated in September. Their offer went through December. I know other people have got the letter because I know it's out there. Once the cat's out of the bag, it's out of the bag. Well, they're not supposed to discuss litigation or anything like that. Well, they should, according to their rules. Let me read it here. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona revised statute, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Now, I watched the video. There was no directed study at a future date. There was not criticism. The gentleman asked a question, and all he did was get berated and tell about how he was, they'd had arguments with him in the past or whatever, and they got the lawyer, they got the airport manager, Junior Samples from Hee-Haw, and Ingold, and they just berated the guy. They told him to sit down, threatened to call the police. Now, I got called, the police called on me at the airport for sitting in the wrong chair and refusing to move.
I think that was hilarious, by the way.
It was kind of.
Sheriff, police.
A cop when you need one, but they had 5 cops there in about 3 minutes.
Just remember.
I don't know if they've got a direct line to the police chief. Maybe he can answer that. I don't know. But I understand you were there.
Actually, Paul, I was sitting there in the audience, and I guess I was shocked and surprised that when we had somebody call, it was a call to the public. Now, the airport authority works as a public entity like any other public entity. Now, there's been some questions whether they have to follow those rules or not. But in following those rules, assuming they are a public entity like the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, which I'm on, as well as the city council or any other public entity, there's a statute they have to follow. And they follow this call to the public and they told the guy, you got 3 minutes. Well, they interrupted and told him to sit down. You're done because you've asked a question we don't like. Or you made a statement you don't like. Oh, yeah, they did it.
I'm on the board, and if it's not on the agenda, we can't address the issue. We can only listen. We can put it for next month.
Okay, well, it's also litigation. He's not supposed to discuss it anyway. He shouldn't be saying that's a lie. You can't. You give the guy 3 minutes, and like I said, they threatened to call the police. Well, where's the open meeting law? Where's the attorney general? This goes on at this airport authority constantly. And by the way, during the call to the public, they're sitting there at the trough feeding off public taxpayers' chow that they're not paying for. You're paying for. Me, you, and the taxpayers are paying for this free
That's
chow.
okay.
Yeah, but the attorney
they have over there.
Yeah, let me address the attorney general issue there. He's out leaving early with his girlfriend and smashing into private cars.
Yeah,
that's where he's at.
Parking garages. I know that one too. I ain't got no much use for that guy.
But getting back to the airport authority thing, I guess I was saddened by the whole thing, Paul. I hate to see that kind of anger and hostility because we had somebody that called the public said something they didn't agree with, and I guess I was shocked. And then after they made him sit down early, and he said, "Wait a minute, I didn't get my 3 minutes." I said, "You're done. You know."
See,
those
now,
kind of things.
Russ, all I can say is this: I cannot solicit business on the air.
Yeah.
But if anybody gets arrested by the chair police, I will gladly defend them.
Paul should have called
I mean, I would love to bring this case in front of the court, municipal court,
for arrested for being in the wrong chair.
Well, we ought to send you the guy that was assaulted by the airport manager when he jerked his camera out of his hand and threw it back at him and hit him in the chest. We ought to send him over here.
But see, if that would have happened,
the camera police too.
Yeah, but the chair police would be. I would like to see that go to trial, and I could just imagine in my opening statement what I could talk about the violations. I mean, this is ridiculous.
It has been.
I mean, it's just, we're all adults.
And it's sad, John, because, it creates problems where problems don't need to be created. We just need to get along. We don't need to have this kind of anger and hostility. And like Paul mentioned, after this gentleman was shut down and told he can't call the public and sat in his seat, they spent the next 3 to 4 or 5 minutes berating him, talking about his personal problems he's had in the past, why he's bad. And when he stood up to say, "Wait a minute, you can't talk about me like that," they say, "You're called the public, over, sit down, or we'll call the cops."
They should have called the cops.
They sent their cronies to get the phone to call this radio to get. You got to watch the video. It's on YouTube.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
In Radio Land wants to get all the rest, and I'm sure.
Where we look on the Yuma Airport Watchdog or Yuma Blunders?
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can Google it. It's on YouTube.
Call to the public. April 9th or whatever.
The sad thing is, Paul, we need to start working Sense and Sensibility, not have these people try to intimidate us and all that kind of stuff.
Everybody in the county and city ought to be aware that there's a $200 million lawsuit against the airport and its board and its management.
Well, yeah, there is. And
I mean, you got people nobody talks about it.
Right.
But then they attack a certain guy running for county supervisor and tell him he don't know who he's messing with, and he can't get there. And start saying on him, "You won't get elected in this town of public office," and we'll see to that. Well, I think he's sitting there on the radio talking to me right now. And but I mean, and he don't talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it. He got threatened. Well, you don't know who the hell you're messing with. That's what was said.
Yeah.
So, but Russ won't talk about it. Well, it doesn't stop me from talking about it.
You're absolutely right. We will not shut you down, Paul. You get your 3 minutes here.
All right. Anything else you wanted? But yeah, the seat police.
All right.
The seat police. I mean.
But the great part was on that seat police I was sitting next to I was told I was sitting in the staff seating, which was not marked. But then I'm sitting next to the manager of Millionaire, and I don't have any problem with Millionaire if I buy fuel from him. But he said next to me, and they said, "This is for staff only." And I go, "Well, is Millionaire on your staff now?" "Oh, and my close personal friends." And that's a quote from Craig Williams. But he changes his rules anytime he feels right, like he's in charge. I'm large and in charge. He's large, all right. So,
see what happens? It's a trickle-down theory from the city down to the board over there.
Yeah,
we make our rules up as we go.
But we need to get by. We need to get back to real business, because they do a lot more good things than things like this. But they cloud the good things with this kind.
Wait a minute. In the paper the other day, Joey Slowback writes us how all this money is being pumped into Yuma, and how the airport authority has spent all this money in town. It's not their money. It's taxpayers' money.
That's fine.
That DCC or whatever. It's
right.
They didn't put the money in, but they got a grant for millions of dollars. So everybody, the airport's doing great things for us. Are they really, or are they just spending taxpayers' money every time?
A little bit of both, Paul. I'm gonna protect them on that. I mean, we're glad they're getting those grants to improve our airport. The grants are available, and they're the taxes are put in there from airport uses. And it's nice that we can capture that we can improve runways and actually hopefully get more business from private enterprise that wants to come here. So I think that's all good use. That's fine. They deserve.
I don't think it should be getting a pat on the back for how they've spent all their money. They didn't spend their money. They spent taxpayers' money.
I would be guilty of patting them on the back for it. I think it's a good one.
You're going to, hey, everybody in Radio Land out there, Outlaw Land, go to the board meetings on the second Tuesday of every month at 4 o'clock and saddle up to the trough, because it's free. And when it's called to the public, the board members are stuffing their face, every one of them.
Yes, they get sandwiches during the meeting. I know that bothers you.
Sandwiches, enchiladas, whatever. Bring your friends. Come up and have a free lunch on the airport. You're paying for it.
Yep, absolutely.
Go have some free
I don't see, Paul, I don't have cable TV at home anymore, so I guess I'll have to come and get free entertainment.
The entertainment was gone for months. We didn't have this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden it just popped its head back up on Tuesday.
You know, and they get junior samples in there to berate the local pilot. They get Craig, they call the lawyer. You can't do that. That's open meeting law violation.
Yeah.
Now, they'll come out and apologize.
No, they won't.
They'll come out and say, well, we shouldn't have done that. We should have let him have his 3 minutes. He was talking with food in his mouth. He's hard to understand. They even got their lawyer involved to berate the guy.
Who is their lawyer?
Wait a minute. He's the lawyer for the airport. Well, and I don't think they'll apologize.
No, they won't, but they'll expect you to bend over and kiss it.
Paul, I appreciate the call, my friend.
See you later.
Take care. Bye.
But the chair police, this is a new one.
You hadn't heard that one?
Oh, the chair police. This will top everything.
Oh, Paul was actually escorted out of the building by city police officers because he did not sit in the right chair.
Wow, that should be a recall election right there.
There's chairs on the north side of the conference room, and there's chairs on the south side. He sat on the north side, and they said, no, you need to sit on the south side because this is reserved for staff. But there were guests sitting over there, too, but just guests they like.
Well, this is almost like the courthouse, man.
Is that right?
The crazy stuff that goes on.
It's crazy. But I thought we were past all that, and you know what? I thought the mood, the attitude had turned more professional, and Tuesday was a shock to me. Tuesday was a surprise. I hate to hear it, hate to see it. We've got a lot of good work going on over at the airport, and I hope that common sense.
This is the problem is we get a lot of people that do personality issues instead of sticking to the facts.
Yeah.
Because somebody said something to me a couple weeks ago, and I looked at one of the government employees that prosecutes people. I says, I don't do the crime, I don't do the time. I says, I'm defending somebody. I said, so what's with the personal vendetta against me?
So that happens at the courthouse, too?
Yeah, and I actually normally never get into personal conflicts.
Yeah, you can't.
I says, the pot shouldn't be calling the kettle black. And because they made a couple personal comments, and I guess I insulted the person. But I'm getting tired of being a taxpayer and having a lot of people that don't work regular hours and don't call you back. But you get it. It's the last couple of years, people have not been acting appropriately with a decorum that I think we should have.
We need to get it changed. We need to run. We'll be right back. Outlaw Talk with Russ Clark, live and local on AM 1400.
Fair police.
Oh, with the Airport Authority?
Yeah.
That was an amazing day. It was amazing to see Paul get escorted. I wasn't there, but it's on YouTube.
We'll have to get a cover for a chair embroidered so we can have a special chair.
He was escorted out because he sat in the wrong chair, so they just called the cops.
I like to see a politician escorted out. That's a good thing.
Yeah, and he didn't take any legal.
I've been escorted out of meetings before.
You should have been.
Listen, no kid, one time I was doing something in Detroit, and they ordered me to be arrested, and the deputy says, I can't arrest him. I won't arrest him because he's a union guy doing union business and he's representing the union. Okay, so not only did I not get arrested, but I got thrown out. I sued the group. Okay, I filed a lawsuit. I represented the deputy in his administration hearing for suspension. Okay, it was wonderful. It was a full lawyer employment act. And then they tried to get me thrown off. Okay, then the Detroit School Board wouldn't let me in, and I claimed discrimination because I was the only white boy represent, everything. So everybody that got terminated or whatever got their job back because they weren't able to have their lawyer because I was their lawyer. And it was great. Yeah. And it was funny. And that's why I always used to keep a substantial amount of cash for bonds. And
to keep yourself out of jail.
But it was so funny. I'm like, okay, if you're going to arrest me, go right ahead. And you don't know what they look like when you have law enforcement confronting you and you challenge them. They freak out when you're a lawyer, especially if it's recorded. At a public meeting, I'm like, no problem. I can spend the night in the can, in the Huskow, in a jailhouse law. Why not? I'll get some business out of it. But if you're willing to do it, and it is amazing when you go after the people.
Well, see, now, Paul was willing to do it.
Yeah, you would.
But they didn't end up arresting. They just escorted him out, and said you're free to go.
I wish they would have detained him and arrested him. That would have been wonderful.
It would have been fun.
I don't know the city ordinance on the chair police, but it would have been wonderful. I mean, people have to stand up. You have to go to conduct yourself at a public meeting in a proper forum, in a proper decorum, and exercise your rights. If you don't, hey.
Let's take a phone call real quick. Let me see. Outlaw Talk, you're on the air.
Hey, Russ, this is Mitch. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Mitch. How are you, man? Is this airport day?
Well, that's what I was calling about. I was there the other day, and I saw the outburst, and just kind of curious what the fallout from that was. As far as the county, I know that you were there.
I was there. And
Robert McKells was there, and they witnessed it. I noticed McKells pretty much walked out of the room as soon as the shouting started.
And keep in mind that the airport right now operates completely independent. They're under no scrutiny from the Board of Supervisors or Yuma County whatsoever, the way it's set up right now. So we have no authority whatsoever. My hope is that by having, the more people there, the county supervisors and those kind of things, that everything would act a little more peacefully. I was disappointed when it did not happen.
But this board, Russ, it's appointed by the board itself, decides who gets reappointed or who they select, or how do you go about getting on this board? Because
they self-select.
Self-select. Because now I'd be interested.
It's not voted for. It's not a countywide vote. It's self-selected.
Self-selected.
But in answer to your question, Mitch, I'm assuming that Robert was as disappointed as I was. That. Disappointed that there isn't a sense of professionalism that's going on.
Yeah, I was watching his body language, and that was kind of the thought that I had, but I wanted to kind of hear it.
But we have no course of action to take. There is none. We have no authority there whatsoever.
But it's the Yuma County Airport Authority, and they lease the property from the county.
Right.
And the county leases it from the federal government.
Right. But they act as...
There's got to be some control there somewhere.
Nope, they act as an independent... The way it was set up is they act as an independent body, self-directed. So...
But if the body isn't following the law, what is the removal procedure and how you do something?
Right.
Because they're already violated state law many times.
Mitch, my hopes are that we get back on a track of professionalism and decorum, and we can agree to disagree peacefully and not have outbursts.
Well, I just can't believe that some authority has answers to no one.
They do. They answer to no one. That's kind of weird. I mean, even, I'm an elected official. I answer to the voters. Everyone answers to someone, but they don't.
They almost sound like the Obama administration. You have an airport czar, or you have a czar for everything.
Maybe they are czars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an outsider. I have no feelings with any of those folks. And what I've seen on the videos, I'm like, these are grown adults that are business owners and professionals acting like...
A little angry.
They can get angry. Nothing wrong with getting angry. If you got a point and you want to make your point, that's one thing. But the personal attacks on people and the lack of professionalism...
I'm in hopes we get by it, John.
Really, they should be ashamed, and they all need to sit down and discuss it in a rational manner. Because if the public sees this and somebody wants to relocate to Yuma, it's a problem. Just like the city council. I've gotten calls from businesses, because I've done a lot of business work in the past, and they'll say, what's going on? It used to be city of San Luis. Now it's Yuma. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's just we have a little problem here. Yeah. People don't want to hear about recalls. They don't want to move into a community where we have problems.
Mitch, I appreciate the call, buddy. Anything else?
Yeah, I just think the county can break the lease.
No.
The two leases. There's ways around this.
I don't see things that far out of control, my friend, and I hope it doesn't get to be that. Depending on all these lawsuits that are going on right now, hopefully those get cleared up and we don't hurt ourselves and hurt the taxpayers with some losses. I hope we don't.
Well, it'll be interesting to see.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye. Let's take another call real quick.
Hey, Russ, it's Paul.
Paul, you're back. How are you?
Hey, I wasn't set free when I walked out the door. I was surrounded by 4 more police officers.
Wow.
Detained, and a report was taken. And about 15, 20 minutes later, then they offered to let me go back upstairs, and I said a few nice words to the officer that I can't repeat on the radio.
But if you're not free to leave, then you're under arrest.
I was detained down on the sidewalk. They never cuffed me. They never searched me.
But you're not free to leave,
I wasn't free to walk away. No, I was not.
Okay, so the law enforcement side doesn't understand this, and that's called an investigative detention, a.k.a. an arrest. Because if you're not free to leave, you're under arrest or its functional equivalent. It's hard to talk to police officers about that. They don't understand that.
I didn't understand it.
And, so you actually were
I was detained for 15. People walked by that I knew and asked if they could help. I said, no, I'll take care of it.
Well, you should put me in speed dial. I would love to make a house call there.
Is there a statute of limitations on that?
Well, usually in a government entity, you have to, under state law, give notice within 6 months and sue within 12 months.
It's been longer than that.
Yeah, you have it.
Hey, the other thing is you said they were what did you call them when they self-elect?
Yes.
No, it's a self-licking ice cream cone.
Well, that.
I never heard of that one.
Oh, yeah, so you look it up and it's self-licking.
Google self-licking ice cream cone. A picture of the airport authority comes up.
It's an ice cream cone in the middle with 12 or 14.
See, Russ?
Keep itself from dripping. That's all it is.
Yeah, but see, Russ not going to get reelected with that comment he made about that.
No, I apologize. I can't help myself.
Well, that's what every time and I got that from a retired lieutenant colonel buddy of mine. I won't mention his name, but that was hilarious. But you look it up on the internet. There's actually it's a thing that's a self-perpetuating do-nothing.
Paul, appreciate you getting me in trouble. Appreciate the call, man. Take care. Okay, I have no filter.
See what happens when you have me around you?
Yeah.
We lose control.
Nothing but trouble. So I am going to take a break and try to get myself under control.
5395 is really cool.
Somehow I knew you would.
Yeah, I like this. 4321.
Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hello, Russ.
Hey.
This is Ken.
Hey, Ken. Gosh. Hello, Ken.
I'm the one that got embarrassed and berated on the television, or on the board meeting this last week.
How do you feel about that?
Pretty bad, because where it started was with the first email.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. I hate to interrupt you. Since I'm a lawyer and I do personal injury cases.
Yeah, I definitely love
You've lost your self-esteem, right?
Yes.
And maybe lost a consortium if you're married. Okay.
No, not quite.
Not quite. You're having anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and they've hurt your image in the community, right?
Yes.
Okay, we can talk about a causable action now.
Good.
All right, Ken, go ahead with your story.
All right, where it started was I sent you an email so you could bring you up to speed before this came.
Right.
It was on first email was asking about a video. Excuse me. After the committee meeting that we had, he called me into his office, and he started chewing on me and berating me there because I shouldn't be sending out emails to all the board members asking why he wasn't doing this job. So it got to the point where it was rather loud in the office. And Junior, which Paul talked about, called the head of security in because they were afraid something was going to happen. Nothing happened. I just called the security man and said, come on in, he needs a witness anyway. So that went out. I got up and walked out of the office. Second time was the next committee meeting that we had. He wanted to talk to me, and I will give him kudos for the fact he attempted to, and it's on the video, apologize, but I would not accept it because it was not in front of all the people that he embarrassed me in the first place. So then this last time around, I found out that over this $200 million lawsuit, there was 2 separate offers made, and those offers were turned down. This comes from a good source. I'm not allowed to say where, but it comes from a good source, and in that source they referenced ARS 408. When I called and talked, I asked as long as it's not confidential, and he said it wasn't confidential, but...
Well, I have to, let me interrupt you there.
Sure.
If there's an offer to compromise in the lawsuit, and it's mediation, it doesn't exist, and it really is confidential in the sense that it doesn't exist. And you really shouldn't be talking about it.
Okay, we're done then.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's.
But I brought it up in the video about that. I'm only saying what was in the video. If you go to YouTube, you'll hear it on the video, and that's when he yelled at me and said I was stopped. I can't talk about it. That's it. It's done. You're done. And he cut me off before my 3 minutes were up.
You see, but maybe they can give you the First Amendment tent out in front of the building. No. We have one in City Hall.
No, we don't need that.
Yeah, maybe they'll do that. But I wanted to see about that chair. That chair really is...
That's Paul that was arrested for sitting in the wrong chair.
Yeah, Paul was arrested, and then he threatened when they started berating me and bringing up stuff that happened in the past. He, on the video, it states that he... was going to call the police, so I finally just looked at him and I said, call him.
But Paul gave us a good idea. You're going to have to all go down to the embroidery shop, get some nice shirts made with ice cream cones on them.
Yeah.
With dripping, yes. That would really basically express yourself, and underneath it, your name, just put good old boy.
So, Ken, are you going to ever go back and do another 3-minute call to public?
Yeah, I will if it comes up, because not only that, I'm also an ASN volunteer for AOPA, which is the Airport Support Network volunteer.
Right.
And it's in the best interest to keep the GA going in the right direction and a positive influence, you know. And at first, when I took on this position after the other gentleman left and got transferred to Las Vegas to the hospital, I was a little leery until I talked to the vice president of the support network at AOPA. And he told me I'm allowed to have my own opinion regardless of whether I'm an ASN or not. And at first it was being kind of intimidated because it's been known that the airport manager is called into AOPA a couple of times. He says it's AOPA called him, but I can't prove that. But all I know is the gentleman at AOPA said he would be more than happy to set Craig Williams straight if he wanted to call into him.
Okay.
So it's a real mess over at that airport. You have two very overbearing dictator types that...
So have you heard from anyone at the airport since the meeting on Tuesday when you were told to be quiet, sit down, be quiet, don't say any more?
Yeah.
And then be rated?
Yeah, exactly. And one other thing I might let, that Paul didn't go into, or Mitch or anybody didn't go into, is two things, actually. The way Rob Ingold gets loud and bullying when he wants something to go his way. And the other thing a lot of people may not know is the airport manager is being paid on an 06 in 20 years. That equates out military pay to about a little over $9,700 a month. Plus, he got a 1.7 COLA raise for all of his good deeds he's done from the day one until now. And I did talk to several board members, and I said it should be done from 2012, January 2012 to December 13th, or December 2012, and not the last 7 or 8 years, but they didn't believe that.
So, yeah, he's being well compensated, you know, for the position.
The other thing is other smaller airports that have the same thing that we have.
Yeah.
And when this all came up, before I said anything, I had an email sent to me about an airport that just went through a $1 billion overhaul, and that airport manager gets less than $75,000 a year.
Maybe it's something they can look at, but that's up to the board.
Yeah, it is. It's up to the board.
Yeah.
It's just they have so many chiefs and no Indians to do stuff. I mean, they've got a manager for everything. So.
Well, you know, you're not helping yourself by talking to me publicly. You're going to probably not receive a warm welcome next time you're back.
Yeah, well, who knows? We'll see what happens. I'll go. I know there's daggers that are going to be shoved in my back.
Well, thanks to you and Paul for including me in all that. I appreciate it.
But sit in the wrong chair so you can get arrested for that, and I'll gladly defend you.
All right.
All right, I will.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
I hate those guys.
But, you know,
I just do not get drug into that.
I know, but this has been going on for a while. I've stayed out of it.
Yeah, I know.
Because
you're a chicken.
I don't have a dog in the fight. I mean, but it's just...
You're afraid you're going to get yelled at.
Oh, only the first time.
Hey,
I was married before. You know that.
Yeah, you were. I've got to mention something real quick. Just a Tea Party rally. I want to mention it one more time today. But April 20th, there will be a Tea Party rally at the AWC in the 3C building. Those are new shiny ones.
Yeah.
Out there. 2 o'clock to 5 p.m. Now, the people are going to be speaking, a lot of our elected officials. U.S. Representative Paul Gosar will be our keynote speaker. Then we'll have the Arizona Attorney General Tom Horn will be speaking. And then a lot of our state legislators. Don Shooter is